What's going on, everyone? So the Phoenix Suns had a extremely disappointing season. They got the big three this past offseason by adding Bradley Beal. They had gotten Kevin Durant at the trade deadline the previous year, and there was a lot of hope and optimism for the Phoenix Suns, right? I mean, a lot of people, even non-Phoenix fans, were like, Phoenix, give them the championship now. It's unfair. Look at this. It's ridiculous. Too much offensive firepower. But one of the things I kept saying is it's not about the names on the back of the jerseys. It's about the fit and the way that they operate. Right? And these three, I just didn't think made sense as a big three. You're talking about three guys that are essentially the same player in different versions, right? Especially Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. And you saw, like, they struggled all season. Part of it was injuries, of course, but then even when they were healthy, there were still questions of just like fit and structure. Then you get into the playoffs, and they ended up getting swept. I mean, they couldn't win one game with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. It's not a good look, right? Now, Phoenix is in a rock and a hard place. Chances are the only way out of this situation is to trade Kevin Durant, right? Because by trading Kevin Durant, that should be able to get you some picks as well as some players to kind of round out the depth in the roster. And then maybe you can use the picks to go get other pieces that you need, kind of go more of the in-depth route as far as the roster goes. Otherwise, you run it back next year and you hope that you can find some more complementary pieces on vet minimum deals, but it's just, I don't necessarily see them being good enough to win a championship. Could they figure it out a little more in another year? Absolutely. But I think push comes to shove, it's three players that are too similar that aren't going to have the success that you want for a team as far as like big threes go, right? You look at all the other big threes over the course of history. They all, for the most part, either played different positions or had different skill sets in which they could complement each other. Right, where you think of like LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, or you think of like Kyrie, Kevin Love, LeBron, or you think of Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. Right, there were no struggles. Right, it was like what position Ray Allen is, what position Paul Pierce is in KG, and then you just need to go get a point guard. Oh, well, they got Rondo. Right, it's just like positions are still important. Right? We are in a very positionless game compared to past years, but it's still very important. And I just think that Phoenix isn't going to be able to put the guys in positions necessary in order for them to have success. So what do you do with Kevin Durant? Right? That's the big question. I think you trade Kevin Durant back to the Warriors. It's one option. Again, there's tons of options that you could do, and a lot of teams would be vying for Kevin Durant. But I think for Kevin Durant's sake, I think Kevin Durant never should have left the Warriors. I think Kevin Durant on the Warriors was huge. But let's touch on the Phoenix side of it, right? They need more position type players. And if you can get something where you get, say, a Jonathan Kuminga, a Moses Moody, and then you'd have to throw in like an Andrew Wiggins, right? Now you can start putting the pieces together. Like, now you have a guy in Jonathan Kuminga who not only helps now, but for the foreseeable future, gives you some youth, gives you some athleticism. You could put him at the 4. So now you actually have a real 4 next to Nurk. So now you got a center, a power forward. You could have Andrew Wiggins kind of play your 3 guard, and then you got Beal and Booker. I still think you need a point guard, but I don't think that this is a bad position to be in. Now you got that defensive guy that you can throw at pretty much anybody, that 3-and-D guy in Andrew Wiggins. You're hoping he can kind of get back to being the closer version of Andrew Wiggins that you saw in Golden State's championship run, right? So now you have him. Jonathan Kuminga gives you that rising star, and then you hope Bradley Beal and Devin Booker can kind of figure it out. Right, Booker did have success at times in the point guard position, so I'd probably put Booker on ball, Bradley Beal as your 2 guard, Andrew Wiggins as your 3, Jonathan Kuminga as your 2, or as your 4, and then Nurk as your 5. And then now you have, Grayson Allen. Hopefully you can keep Royce O'Neal. You got a Moses Moody. Or you could even look to maybe kind of get a third team involved and maybe flip. Maybe you could turn Andrew Wiggins into a point guard, right? Maybe we're even like a Tyus Jones or something, right? Could you work somehow, or maybe flip Moses Moody for that, right? So like, let's say you get Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, maybe you could flip a Moses Moody and, whatever. I'm sure you'd get some picks or something from them. Maybe you could work something out to where you could get a Tyus Jones and maybe something else, or even just like a swap. Like, hey, you're going to lose Tyus Jones for nothing. Let's work out a deal here, right? So you get Moses Moody and you get Tyus Jones. Yeah, you'd be hard capped, but you're already screwed regardless, right? So maybe you could do something like that. So now you got a legit playmaker, somebody that can kind of get guys involved, and maybe you go that course of action and then kind of run small with Andrew Wiggins at 3. The problem is that, like, you had it already with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, right? I think that they need a true playmaker, but they need a playmaker that is a pass first playmaker. They need somebody that's willing to distribute and share the basketball. So I don't know. I just think if you can maybe use some of Golden State's assets, because Golden State needs to do something, right? And I just think Kevin Durant, he works with Steph. Golden State's kind of doing this back and forth of like, man, we really want to run it back with Clay and Dre and, Steph, and we don't want to break that up, but, how do we kind of retool and whatnot? And like, you go get Kevin Durant, that works. Now, I don't think Warriors would be what they were previously with Kevin Durant, where they were like literally unbeatable. It took the entire team falling apart for them to lose in the finals. Like if guys were healthy, Toronto wasn't beating Golden State. But then when KD tears his Achilles and Steph is hurt and Clay is hurt, Draymond's hurt, it's like, okay, yeah, you're not winning that series. So to me, I think that this would not be an unfair Kevin Durant to the Warriors scenario. I actually think that this would be like hey, they could still win a championship and still be very competitive, but they'd be one of the teams, not like they're 1A and everyone else is C, right? Because they're 1A and B. I think that it would just be a lot more fair because, one, Kevin Durant isn't the Kevin Durant he was, however many years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was. And, Clay is not the same guy, nowhere close. Draymond is actually coming off of a very good season. So I still think that you'd have the tools. I still think you'd be competitive. I think you go on this last hoorah, this last run with Kevin Durant returning. I don't think Kevin Durant ever should have left the Warriors to begin with. I think he was in a great situation. I think all parties genuinely needed each other. I think the Warriors genuinely needed Kevin Durant. And I know some people are going to look at it and go, yeah, but the Warriors won again without Kevin Durant. Yeah, but they probably would have done that still with Kevin Durant. And I think that you saw like that was the end of the dynasty, where I think they still would be in the conversation to this day. Right? They got that one push, which is great, but I think that, you're looking at since then, it's like, what have they done? They lost to the Lakers and then didn't even make the playoffs. Where I think even the following year, right, I still think that they probably would have lost to the Lakers that year just because I just think there was clear mismatches. But Kevin Durant definitely would have made a difference. And it's very possible that the Warriors did beat the Lakers. And now they're in the conference finals against the Denver Nuggets, which they've shown that they match up well against Denver, right? So, I don't know. Maybe you go back to back, right? I don't think that they missed the playoffs this year, right? So to me, it's like, if you're the Warriors, getting Kevin Durant back, I think makes a ton of sense. And then for the Phoenix Suns, you're hoping Devin Booker and Bradley Beal as a duo can work. Because you can't trade Devin Booker because Devin Booker's Mr. Sun. And Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. And how many teams are giving up a bunch of assets to go and get Bradley Beal anyway? Probably not many, if at all. Right? So I think you're stuck with Bradley Beal. You can't trade Booker. Kevin Durant's the only option you have. So I think you send him back to the Warriors. Warriors get a guy in KD again. If you're the Phoenix Suns, you got now Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody. So at least, and you probably get a first or something, which now maybe, again, like I said, you could take Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, and like the first or whatever you get, and maybe go get that other piece. Maybe go get that point guard. Maybe go get a DeJounte Murray or something, right? And be like, hey, we'll give you a young player, Moses Moody. We'll give you a veteran guy in Andrew Wiggins, and we'll give you a first for Jamal. And now you got like a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, a center, right? Like, I don't know. It's a thought that I think makes a lot of sense. I think you can work it out. And I think you can maybe potentially be a more well-rounded, deep team. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think, like, yeah, that's the answer? Send them back to the Warriors. You think, no, that's not a good idea. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.